Okay, so we're going to power the hot tub up here and show you the operations on the controller system from a fresh fill. So power on, you can see the lights have come on. It's then going to give us a revision. This actually tells us some information about the circuit board. Then it goes into the welcome to jacuzzi and now goes into its purge. So it's turned all of the jets on. It's going to blow those lines through. Water is at 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Turn the jets on and then off, simulate through the purge. Okay, let's look at the different buttons here. We're going to start at the very bottom. The buttons on the bottom are the most common buttons used. So you have the 2 jet buttons. This tub has 2 jet pumps. So pump 1 simply goes on and off, and it'll operate half of the hot tub. Button 2, on and off, operates the other half of the hot tub. Your light buttons, this button here is your on-off switch. When you first turn it on, it goes to high, medium, low, and off. Put it back onto high. This is your color selector. So as you push this button, it will toggle through the different colorations in the hot tub. So I'm in a red and a green, into a blue, into kind of a purpley color, and now I'm into the water rainbow. Your lights are on a 1-hour timer. They turn themselves off after an hour. Going back to the jets, when you activate those jets, after 20 minutes, they would turn themselves off. Okay, let's look at this button here. The green button is your menu button. So when we push this button, it goes into our filter settings and all of the other settings that's built into the tub. So first time we push it, so this goes into your exterior lights. And then you can use your plus and the minus in order to do your controls. And so this is simply just turning them off and on at this point. Now we're into our PF, which is our primary filtration. The primary filtration is going to allow you to set your filtration from factory. It will be set for midnight. I'm going to lock that in, and it's set for 8 hours. I suggest that we go to a 24-hour filtration. So I'm going to dial this all the way up to 24 hours. Lock it in with jet pump 1. Your 24-hour filtration. This hot tub is extremely efficient. The circulation system only draws ½ an amp of electricity. So going to that 24-hour filtration, you'll save money on water chemistry over electricity. Push this again. We have a secondary filtration. You can go through all the different settings. I suggest that you set it to the heavy. The heat mode, you want to make sure is on auto versus day versus econo. Auto means it's going to heat whenever it needs to heat rather than in timed filtration. FC, this is your filter change. This is simply a countdown to remind you when it's time to clean your filters. I'm going to dial mine down to 90 days. I like to change my filters for a cleaning every 3 months. Lock that in. Once it gets to 0, it will actually tell you it's time to change your filters. It's a simple countdown. It's not telling you whether or not those filters are actually dirty. It's just counted itself from 90 days down to 0. Go to the next one, UV. This is the Clear-A bulb inside of the hot tub. We'll show a different video on how to actually change a Clear-A bulb, but to set your Clear-A back to 0, it starts at 365 days, counts itself down to 0. When it gets to 0, it tells you it's time to change your Clear-A bulb. You use the plus and minus to dial that back up to 365 days. Jet button number 1 locks it in. And to the next setting, H2O. This is a water refresh or a water change. Again, counts down, in this case, from 180 days, and you can change that to whatever you want. But I'm going to dial it back up to 180 days, lock it in. Now I'm going to go back into that. I'm going to go past 180 days, and you notice it says off. You can actually turn any of these features off if you choose to. So if you don't want the countdown to exist, just simply go in there and set it to off and lock it in. I'm changing it back to the 180 days. So in 6 months, it will tell me it's time to change the water in this hot tub. The time, you can go in and set the time, the hours, lock it, the minutes, lock it, AM versus PM, lock it in, the date, the same thing. Dial this up to 2020, lock that in, go into April, lock it in. Temperature, this will toggle from Fahrenheit to Celsius. I'm going to leave this tub in Fahrenheit. Languages, you can go through English, French, Spanish. I'm going to leave it in English. And then the lock feature. So the lock feature has a couple of different options. This is an all access feature versus settings, which would be like your filtration settings, versus a service feature. Okay, the service feature will lock out your jet pumps so that you can go to your filtration and remove your filters without having to worry about the pumps running. So let's lock out all. We're going to lock that out. So now when I try and use my jets, nothing works. Try and change my temperature, nothing works. I've locked everything out of this hot tub at this point. If I want to then get rid of the lock, I simply hold the menu button down for 10 seconds. And now the all lock is off. And then you can operate the jets again. Okay, let's go over the operations of the J-400 series hot tub. So right now the hot tub is in a filter and heat mode. It's hard to see, but the water is actually moving through the filtration, through the heating system, through the UV, and then back into the tub itself. This is an automatic system set up in the menu section that we already covered, and you can control that, but we strongly recommend that you set to a 24-hour filtration setting so you're getting filtration and heat whenever the tub needs it. So what I'm going to first do is turn on the pumps. This particular tub has 2 pumps. Some of the smaller hot tubs only have 1 pump, but most of the 300 series have a pump 1, which will operate one half of the hot tub, and a pump 2 that will operate the other half of the tub. So let's just operate one side of the tub for now. So this side of the hot tub, we've got all seats running. Here we have a diverter or a zone valve. As I move that valve over, I'm taking pressure specific to one seat. As I move the valve over this way, now I'm putting pressure to the other seat. So let's take valve pressure all the way to this one seat here. Each individual jet can be turned off and on. So if there's a jet that's not working, just turn the face of that jet to get the pressure. We also have air injection into those seats. So this is water only versus an air-water mixture. When you add air, it creates more venturi, more spin, more body to the jet. A new feature for any 2020 model 300 series tub is the new Sooth pillow. There's a valve right beside the pillow here, and what it does is it activates 2 jets on the back side of the pillow. So when you put your head against the pillow, you don't get any splashing factor, but it creates a really nice soothing massage in the back of your head. Turn that off, and now you don't have that action happening at all. So the valve is right beside the pillow itself. You don't have any splash factor, like a lot of neck jets will splash, and you want to turn them off after a couple of minutes, and it's not noisy. Okay, on the opposite side of the hot tub, the exact same features with the zone valve and the air controls. So you can run each side independent of each other. And turn the jets off. We go over to the waterfall valve. It's on the very top. This is actually running from your filtration system. Okay, so I don't have to have any of the jets running in order to operate the waterfall, and I can dial that back to just a trickle or have it coming out with more of a cascade. There is a seat right there as well that you can sit in front of that waterfall and get a nice type of a cascade over the back of your neck, kind of a soothing type of a massage. Let's look at the lights on the tub. First, we'll go to the switch on the far left side, which is your on-off. So when I first push it on, it turns to the brightest setting, then slightly less, and then off. Turn them back on, we'll go to the color selector. When we push that button, we can now hold a solid color. It won't change anymore. Push it again, we go to the next in the sequence, and so on. So the purple, now we're into a red. Push it again, we're into a yellow, green, a blue, kind of a pinkish white, and now we're back into the water rainbow, which will sequence through all those colors. Again, those lights are on a 1-hour timer, and after an hour they'll turn themselves off. One thing that we want to note with this Sooth pillow, if you have any issues with this pillow whatsoever, please contact us for directions or to have our tech come out. There's an actual sticker on here that says, do not pull this pillow from the front. It actually has mounts on the back of this pillow for servicing purposes. So you definitely want to talk to us before you access that pillow whatsoever. Filtration, that's the one other thing that we want to talk about. The filtration in the 300 series is a top skimming action. You need to make sure you have water going into the skimmer mouth. This skimmer shield can lift up and away. The backside has a net, a mesh net that you can rinse out when you do a drain and refill. It'll catch the bigger debris like leaves and hair. This will need to be replaced every 1 to 2 years depending on wear and tear, but this is meant to just unclip all the way around to be replaced. Then we can access our filters in the tub itself. You have 2 filters, you have a primary and a secondary. Your primary filter has the screen. It has little polka dot little holes in it. That's your primary filter. And what I mean by primary, it's the one tied into your 24-hour filtration. The other filter is your secondary filter. It's tied into your jet pumps. So it just threads counterclockwise as well. You can pull those filters simply out and take them to get sprayed out for cleaning or bring them into the shop. I recommend that these filters are rinsed on a monthly basis, brought in for a cleaning every 2 to 3 months. The hot tub itself can get drained and refilled every 4 to 6 months. Every 4 to 6 months seems to be sufficient. Unless you have extremely hard water, then you may have to do it even more often. Those filters back in. So in the tops of the filters, you can also use a dispenser, depending on what chemical system you're using. If you're using a tablet-based system, you can use a dispenser. The dispenser is going to actually lock in line into the filter. And we show you this in the chemical orientation, but that's where you would lock that in. And you always want to put your chemical dispenser on your primary filter, which is the one with the polka dotted grate in the bottom of it.